Hi, and welcome to my presentation about discovering history with modern technology. My name is Adam Kalisch, and today I would like to introduce my bachelor thesis. More specifically, I would like to introduce the motivation for my work. And I would like to start my presentation with an event that took place about 70 years ago. On the 2nd of January 1945, Nuremberg, that's a city in the south of Germany, suffered from aerial bombing. It was one of the most severe attacks made by aerial bombardment at that time. Nearly 1,800 people have been killed that day. And this aerial bombing, or this area bombing directive, was issued by the British Air Ministry. It directed the Royal Air Force to concentrate their attacks on factories and industry buildings in general. The goal of the directive was to focus the attacks on the enemy morale. That's why it is also called morale bombing. Now here on the left you can see a town map of Nuremberg. The red areas depict buildings that were bombed during the Second World War. So if you decide to visit one of those buildings today, you will probably not see any building at all, or you will see a building that was reconstructed after the Second World War. And one of those buildings is the Pella House, which you can see here. It was built during the Renaissance in 1602, and this is how it looked like. Then, after the aerial bombing, it was reconstructed, and today it looks like this. On the left-hand side you can see the original state of the Pella House, and on the right-hand side you can see how it was rebuilt. And as you can see, the building facade changed dramatically. The lower part almost remained the same, but from the first floor up there is a complete remake. Also, the interior part of the building, which you can see here, has been completely destroyed. Though the Pella Hof, which is the courtyard of the Pella House, has almost been fully reconstructed by the Altstadtfreunde Nuremberg today, the building facade still looks quite modern. And if you look at the building from the bird's eye perspective, you can see that the whole building still looks like a big block that has been placed right inside the city center. The students in Nuremberg know this kind of architecture already, because one of the university buildings also has this kind of cubic shape. It's interesting to note that in this building, architecture classes are being taught. So students who are studying architecture will know that building very well. Now criticism and a question could arise. How could one ever experience history with such development? And my personal answer to this question is with modern technology, for example. And this is also what I would like to talk about today. I would like to introduce various methods and technologies that can be used to reconstruct buildings or building facades as 3D models. And once we have them as virtual 3D models, we can use them for all sorts of things. For example, creating interactive walkthroughs or 3D printing. And the first technology I will introduce is laser scanning. It is also referred to as LiDAR, and LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging. And this is a device that looks like a photo camera mounted on a tripod. But it cannot take only photos. It can also measure distances from the device to an obstacle. And those distances are measured with laser beams. So by sending out or emitting a laser beam, and by measuring the time it takes for the laser beam to actually hit the obstacle, it is possible to calculate the distance of the obstacle in, for example, meters. But of course, it doesn't make much sense to measure only one distance. And that's why the laser beam needs to move somehow, it needs to rotate. And this is accomplished, or this is done, by rotating the device horizontally about 360 degrees and simultaneously rotating a mirror that deflects the laser beam vertically also. So by rotating horizontally and deflecting the laser beam vertically, it is possible to capture a panorama or a complete sphere around the device. In that way, those devices produce a 3D model from a real environment. While it is not really accurate to call the result a 3D model, what you rather get from the scanning process is a 3D point cloud. That's many points scattered in 3D space. Still, because there is so many of them and the points are already colored with the help of the photo camera built into the device, it is possible to recreate the building structures and surfaces from them. You can see the result of such a scan here. This is also in Nuremberg, more specifically at the Tiergartener Tor, near to the Nuremberg castle. Those laser scanners are getting more popular each day. Besides their use in architecture, geology, and robotics, they are also frequently used in crime scene investigations and visual effects or planning a shot for a movie. Now this is one automatic method. Another automatic method is called MultiView Reconstruction. It's also called image-based reconstruction or photogrammetry. Those are the buzzwords that commonly describe one process, namely taking several photos of a real existent object, just from different viewpoints or different camera angles, and feeding those pictures into a software, which then calculates features, matches those features between image pairs, and tries to reconstruct 3D surface information, or at first 3D point clouds, from those images. And that way you can get a 3D model of a real existent object pretty fast. Those are two automatic methods. Of course, if there are automatic methods, there are also manual methods. And they would be used if you don't have a great amount of pictures, or if the object you are trying to reconstruct doesn't exist anymore. And this is often the case with historic content. For example, here you can see an old wall at the railway station Bahnhof Märzfeld, or as it is now called, Bahnhof Langwasser. The railway station is located in Langwasser, that's a district of Nuremberg in Germany. And looking at the old picture, it is hard to determine the exact structure of the wall and how tall it is. Furthermore, this is the only historic picture of that wall. If you encounter such a situation, it might get very difficult to produce a representative 3D model from only that material. You would have to guess and eyeball measurements and colors. Unfortunately, I am not aware of a good automatic method that can reconstruct 3D models from just a single image, yet. In this particular example of the railway station, you might be lucky though. The wall still exists. It is a bit hard to find, but you could take a measuring tape and at least get the correct width and height. Despite the graffiti on the wall, you can even take photographs for a texture. By the way, at this point I would like to focus your attention on the material the wall was really made of. Okay, this would be a manual reconstruction method. Naturally, there are also combinations of manual and automatic reconstruction methods. Today, drones are really popular, and they can in fact be used for 3D reconstruction. Having a built-in camera, they can take photos from viewpoints a human usually cannot reach easily. Here I would like to once again take a look at the railway station in Langwasser. A miniature model shows that there should be 2 underground entrances to that station. If you try to find them, you will most likely only find one tunnel. And the stairs to the tracks will also be blocked. So where's the other tunnel? And this is where drones get really helpful. They can fly over the area and help you to search for such a tunnel. And looking at the recordings, you might be as lucky as I was. Without even interfering the train operations or needing to cross the tracks illegally or even risking to get hit by a train, a drone can survey the area safely. And recently, drones are also equipped with LiDAR devices to map wide areas within minutes. So after I found that second tunnel, and I knew that there still is the second tunnel, though hidden, I contacted the owner of the area, namely the Deutsche Bahn, and asked if I could take some pictures of the area for my research. And fortunately, a friendly employee who is responsible for the sector gave me the opportunity to visit the place and take some pictures. After we then cut our way through bushes and other parts overgrown with vegetation, I was presented with this exciting view. So this is my little story, how I was able to discover a secret historic location with the use of modern technology. I just started my work on the subject. The goal of my work is to reconstruct the Pella House building facade in its historic state from 1602. If you would like to join me on my journey, please feel free to visit my homepage at bachelor.kalisch.co. The next steps are going to be scanning the current Pella House facade with a laser scanner, recreating a 3D model from the laser scanner point cloud with my own software, and then taking that model as a guide to rebuild the historic facade in the open source 3D software Blender. I will try to create video logs of my work, always ready for critique and suggestions. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you for your attention, have a great day, and goodbye.